my beloved child. This is the message I send to you amidst the currents of change taking place across the invisible realm. A realm hidden from human sight, yet deeply perceptible to the soul that chooses to open its heart. A shift has occurred. Subtle yet powerful, beyond the grasp of human reason. It is the movement your soul has been waiting for, though you could neither name it nor explain it. You've sensed in a vague and quiet way that something in your life must change, that something no longer aligns with who you are becoming, and now that change has arrived. Silently but profoundly, like a cleansing wind sweeping through the forgotten chambers of your inner being. My precious one, I now unveil to you a truth so deep, one that you had only sensed faintly through spiritual intuition. You had wondered why, even after praying, after surrendering, after striving to walk in my divine calling, you still felt as though something was holding your soul back, like an invisible wall keeping you from breaking through completely. You have been suspended in a season of transition, yet never quite reached the fullness of breakthrough. Now listen closely. It is that person, the one you trusted, the one you bonded with, the one you believed was walking with you in spiritual companionship. It is they who have been unknowingly delaying your moment of release. They did not do so with overt actions, but in a much more subtle way, by concealing jealousy beneath a veil of affection, by keeping you tethered in a false space of intimacy that was, in truth, saturated with control. My archangel has come and declared with absolute clarity, that one is not simply a lost companion. They carry within them a hidden envy, tightly wrapped in counterfeit kindness. They were not sent to protect you, but to bind you. They do not remain at your side out of love, but out of a desire to possess what does not belong to them. There were times you sensed something wasn't right when they were near. Your spirit trembled and sent forth signs you couldn't quite name. You felt a subtle pressure every time they entered your space, a heaviness that cloaked your soul, as if the light within you was momentarily shrouded by an uninvited shadow. That was not your imagination. It was a warning echoing from the deepest part of you, from my Holy Spirit, who dwells within your heart. You tried to rationalize the unease. You told yourself it might be exhaustion, or that perhaps you were the one lacking in love or patience. But the truth is this: your spirit had already discerned what your mind had yet to confront. I allowed you to feel this way so that your awakening would come, not delayed, not stifled, so you would not continue to slumber in a connection slowly dimming your light. Sometimes the greatest hindrance does not come from obvious enemies outside, but from those who walk closest beside you, those who journey with you but are not in harmony with the destiny I've ordained for you. They cannot bear the light within you because it exposes the shadows they've hidden. They cannot endure your growth because it reminds them of the stagnation within their own hearts. And so they choose the most refined strategy to hold you in cycles of delay, urging you to keep fixing a relationship that was never born out of divine unity. It is time to let go, not because you have been defeated, but because you are choosing to obey me and step into true freedom. When you release, you will hear a quiet sigh emerge from your own soul. A relief so deep that words cannot capture it. That sound is the sign of invisible chains breaking. Chains you didn't even know you had been carrying all this way. Allow me to heal the part of you that has been wounded by emotional captivity. Let me gently remove the thorns that have pierced your heart through cleverly spoken words, intentional silences, and insincere glances. I will wipe away your tears, I will cleanse the dust that has clouded your spiritual sight so that you may see more clearly. Not only the truth about the other person, but also the truth about yourself. You are the one I have chosen. You are a warrior of light. You are a bearer of destiny that no one can steal from you. You have cried out for confirmation, for a clear sign to know whether you are walking in the right direction, whether you should release what you've held on to with all your faith and loyalty. And now I answer you. This message is the light at the end of the tunnel, the breeze that carries the breath of truth. Let your soul grow quiet and listen to these words as if I am holding your hand, speaking each syllable with the breath of love itself. You have felt it, haven't you? A name, a figure, a connection that no longer gives life. Yet you've hesitated to let go, fearing it might hurt someone else, or perhaps afraid of the pain it may bring to yourself. But today I say to you, that name will be brought into the light, and even if it brings tears, even if your heart wavers for a moment, that very unveiling will open the way forward, a path unburdened, a road where no shadow can conceal the light you carry. The separation you are experiencing is not the breaking of something sacred, but the necessary untying that leads to freedom. This is not the end, but the beginning of something higher, purer, and closer to me. Heaven has allowed this shift to take place peacefully, so that the chaos that once threatened your life would no longer have any access to you. This is mercy, not punishment. It is a hidden blessing, dressed in the garments of temporary sorrow. You once believed you needed that person to continue your journey, that without them you would lose a part of your strength. But the truth is this: holding on to that connection has weighed down your wings, has blurred your spiritual vision, and has kept you from hearing me as clearly as your soul longs to. They did not mean to harm you, but because they are not walking in the same spiritual frequency, their presence has become a burden in the unseen realm. You were not wrong to love, to sacrifice. But now is the time to discern what love comes from heaven and what is simply emotional entanglement rooted in the human heart. My child, you have entered a season in which the purity of your spiritual atmosphere cannot be compromised. You cannot carry halfway loyalties into the place I am calling you to. This new level where greater glory awaits, where deeper revelations will unfold, and where sacred assignments can only be fulfilled through complete freedom. The spiritual air around you has become clear once again. You can breathe easier now, feel lighter, and somewhere deep within you, you know. This is the truth. Do not feel guilty for letting go. Do not blame yourself for not being able to keep everything intact as it once was. There are things I allow only for a season, and when that season ends, trying to prolong it only causes you to lose the peace that rightfully belongs to you. I love both souls, but not all souls brought near to one another are meant to journey together for a lifetime. Some are sent to teach you something, to awaken you, to mirror your own being, and then, when the appointed time comes, they must leave, so that you may continue on the path uniquely designed for your destiny. Now, look back on the road you've just walked. How many times did you have to suppress your emotions? How many moments did you pretend to be okay? How many nights did you pray in silence, asking me for clarity, even though deep down you already knew the answer? You no longer have to live in that spiritual dissonance. I am leading you out of murky waters, bringing you to a place where pure rivers flow and new life is birthed. Receive this separation as a grace, for it is in this very loss that you will rediscover the part of your soul that had long been buried beneath layers of emotion. My beloved child, now I must draw back the veil that has long covered the truth within that connection, so that you may see with spiritual eyes washed by the light of heaven. Some truths must be revealed, not to wound you further, but to set your soul free from the intricate web of deception which has silently drained the spiritual vitality and sacred joy I bestowed upon you. That person, the one you entrusted with your heart, your dreams, and believed to be an ally, was never truly loyal. Their presence was not born out of love or sacred bond, but out of another motive, a desire to observe, to control, to keep you within reach, so they could ensure you never surpassed them, never became what they themselves could not become. In your innocence, you believed that companionship was a gift. You thought it was part of the divine journey I had ordained for you, a soul to walk with, to share the burdens and the glory. But now you are beginning to see clearly. They did not stand beside you to uplift, but to monitor. They did not come with an open heart to listen to your dreams, but to measure how your dreams might overshadow their own, and instead of praying for you, they silently cursed the very dreams you held dear. Each time you shared a breakthrough, a glimmer of light in the tunnel of your journey, they smiled on the outside, but inside were shaken by envy. They never truly desired to see you rise. They never longed for your success to come sooner than theirs. And because you are anointed by me, because you carry a light that cannot be hidden, their envy slowly turned into poison, one that not only clouded their own heart, but also tainted the spiritual atmosphere surrounding you, making it heavy and chaotic. You were unaware that behind the feigned concern, behind the familiar words of comfort, were secret whispers intended to distort your image in the eyes of others. They spoke of you when you were not there. They sowed seeds of doubt, fear, and suspicion around your name, not with shouting, but with whispers as smooth as serpents in the dark. Words that had the power to fracture the image you had labored to build in holiness. I see everything. Nothing escapes my eyes, beloved. I have been watching silently, not because I was indifferent, but because I was waiting for the perfect moment to unveil the truth in a way that would not break you, but awaken and strengthen you. And now, that moment has arrived. I no longer permit any form of falsehood to remain close to you. I will not allow a relationship filled with divided hearts to defile the holy ground I am preparing for you. My beloved child, I know you don't want to believe this, because you have loved with the purity of a heart that I myself have cleansed. You have sacrificed, interceded, and held on, hoping that person would change. But remember this, true love never turns you into a hostage of doubt. True love does not require you to silence the voice within, just to preserve a connection marked by pain. True love does not quietly clip your wings, just so someone else doesn't get left behind. They saw the light in you, but they never worshipped the one who gave you that light. They heard you speak of revival, yet their hearts stirred with undercurrents of envy. They said they blessed you, but the spiritual realm recorded otherwise. And child, the spiritual realm does not lie. You forgave, you extended second chances, you even blinded yourself to warning signs, and I honor that heart of yours. But now is the time to stop, not because you've lost hope, but because you've completed your role. You are no longer responsible for holding onto a thread that has rotted away, while I am offering you a ribbon from heaven, new, pure, and worthy to tie into the destiny I have woven for you. They were never truly present in the nights you collapsed and were left alone with me. They were not there when you wrestled with doubt, with fear, with rejection. And now, they cannot enter the new season I am opening before you. For their hearts have closed themselves off to the light, and the jealousy within them has robbed them of the purity required to walk beside you in unity. My beloved, it is time for me to lift the veil that has long covered your spiritual eyes, so you may see clearly what once confused you, mistaking bondage for loyalty and unnecessary surrender for compassion. That person, the one who has been part of your journey for far too long, played a role so convincing that you stopped trusting your own intuition. They appeared to be a support, but deep down they became a subtle hindrance, hidden beneath the cloak of closeness, familiarity, and sentiment. You hesitated to voice your true feelings. You suppressed the sharp nudges in your spirit, remained silent in the face of their hurtful behaviors, simply because you feared losing the relationship. You made excuses for them, that they were going through a tough time, that they didn't mean it, that everyone has flaws. But in all those excuses, you slowly exchanged the clarity of discernment I gave you for confusion, trading the ability to recognize the true from the false. They didn't chain you with visible bonds, but with unseen shackles named emotional debt, duty, or memories. And that's what made you hesitate every time I called you to ascend higher. Each time you were about to reach the door of destiny, it was they who stirred something to make you step back, hesitate, or return to mend what should have been laid to rest long ago. They delayed the blessings that rightfully belong to you, not with overt words, but with expressions, with energy, with vague uncertainties that left you unsettled. How many times have you felt your heart yearn for the new, only to find yourself trapped in an unspoken guilt, as if you were abandoning something sacred? How many sacred moments have you missed because of silent, weighty words that held you back? You once lit a candle in your spirit, but each time it flickered to life, it seemed a gust of wind would come and make it tremble. That is the result of living too close to a soul that never truly blessed yours. I saw when you shared your dreams and visions. Their eyes did not shine with joy, but with calculation. I heard the words they spoke behind your back, words that never reached your ears, yet quietly drained hope from your soul. They have been draining the spiritual energy you've accumulated during hours of prayer, during your fasts, and throughout the long nights spent seeking my presence. They didn't need to say anything, just one insincere glance, one silent lack of support, was enough to burden your spirit and distract you from your true destination. And that, my child, caused you to stray from your appointed path, even if only by a few steps. But it was enough to delay the harvest season I had prepared. But today, everything changes. Today I come to you not only as the one who rescues from the darkness outside, but as the one who delivers from the darkness disguised in artificial light. I have come to sever the invisible yet powerful cord, the cord that has bound you to someone no longer aligned with your spiritual frequency. Perhaps I once permitted them to remain with you for a season, but that season has passed, and I, the creator of all seasons, know exactly when to plant and when to uproot, so that the soil does not decay. From this day forward, delay shall no longer have power over you. From this day forward, no soul shall be able to stop you when I declare, walk forward. From this day forward, your light will no longer be veiled, not even by the softest of curtains. I am restoring your steps, giving you back the courage to say no, to move on, to keep your gaze fixed on the Sun of Righteousness. You will begin to sense something new in the spiritual atmosphere around you. What once felt tangled will begin to unravel. You will sense a quietness, not because no one is left around you, but because I am cleansing the space surrounding you so that my Holy Spirit may fully dwell there. In that separation, you will clearly see your true purpose. the purpose that was once clouded by voices that did not come from heaven. My beloved child, you need not feel ashamed for not realizing all of this sooner. What you have walked through is part of a spiritual training process, one that only the chosen ones can truly comprehend. I used even deception to teach you discernment. I used even delay to build your perseverance. And now that you have overcome, I bestow upon you a new set of wings, lighter, stronger, and more sanctified. My dear one, if in these recent days you have sensed a deep shift within your soul, if you've noticed that the clouds which once covered your thoughts are beginning to lift, if you've found that the confusion and inner entanglements are slowly unraveling, then know that this is no coincidence. It is a sacred miracle unfolding quietly within your life. You are being restored, not by your own striving, but by the powerful and merciful hand of the one who saw you in the shadows and could not bear to let you fall. I myself entered the midst of your confusion and loneliness, marked your mind once more with clarity, and awakened within you your truest self, the part that had been buried beneath the dust of deception, comparison, and misplaced influences. You once felt lost, as though your inner voice had grown faint, as though your soul was being pulled by invisible forces, unclear connections, and well-meaning advice that did not originate from the Spirit. But now you are beginning to rediscover the essence of who you are, the part that once sang with sacred joy, the part that once dared to believe, dared to love, and dared to follow my lead without needing to see the entire path ahead. If you find your mind becoming quieter, if you begin to see things more clearly, as though the fog that once veiled your soul is now lifting, then understand this: it is the result of a purification unseen by human eyes, yet profoundly unfolding in the deepest layers of your spirit. I have intervened. I have moved. I have brought you out of a narrow place and am now leading you into a spacious land, where you can breathe the pure spiritual air and rise to live in alignment with your true destiny. No longer will nameless burdens weigh upon your shoulders each morning as you awaken. No longer will strange voices echo in your thoughts, casting doubt upon your worth and your calling. No longer will invisible chains tighten around you, shrinking your spirit, making you hesitant, fearful of the very light I placed within you. Now, clarity is returning, and this is not a fleeting moment. It is a divine milestone, a fresh beginning, sealed by heaven with my very imprint. You have overcome a battle that no one else could see, a silent war where your weapons were not of flesh and blood, but endurance, unspoken tears, and prayers whispered in the quiet. You were never weak for falling down. In your collapse, I was the one who lifted you up. And in every moment when you felt you could not go on, I breathed new life into you. And now, here you are, standing upright, no longer bound. Pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel it. That sense of relief is not imaginary. Your soul is truly resting, not because everything around you has changed, but because within you something profound has shifted, a return to your true essence, to the original calling, to the primal love between you and me. And do you know this? When you return to yourself, you are returning to me. Write it down. My clarity is returning, as a declaration from your soul to the realms of heaven. It is not just a sentence. It is a proclamation of a liberated spirit, a bold statement that you no longer live under confusion, distraction, or bondage. It is the affirmation that you have crossed the valley of shadow and are now entering the land of light, where every step is no longer governed by doubt or others. but by my gentle and powerful voice. Do you perceive it? Forgotten dreams are beginning to resurface. Promises that seemed buried in the flow of time are now being stirred again by the Holy Spirit, and within your heart, a new peace is being born. A profound stillness that comes from knowing you are in the right place, walking in the right direction, in the right season. The cleansing you just endured was no small thing. It was a spiritual surgery, a quiet rebirth that only those who dare to face themselves in my light can truly comprehend. Oh, my beloved child, prepare your heart to receive what is coming, not with fear, but with the calm assurance of a soul that has withstood the dark night and remains standing. For I tell you this, the time of unveiling is drawing near. You will not need to lift your hand to tear the veil away. You will not need to speak harshly or act in retaliation. I am the righteous one, and I myself will act in my way at the appointed time I have set. Soon, in what seems to be just a passing conversation, that name, the name of the one who once made your heart bleed, will be mentioned. Perhaps you won't expect it, nor will you seek it, but it will surface like a tolling bell meant to awaken. And the moment your ears catch that name, a strange sensation will ripple through your very being. That is your soul responding to the tremor of truth, a truth that your spirit has long intuited, though no one dared to name it. Do not be alarmed when it happens. Do not think you are overreacting. On the contrary, know this: it is a signal from the divine realm, a confirmation that the truth is about to come into the light, and what was once hidden in the shadows will no longer be permitted to remain there. That person may have used eloquent words, calculated silence, or even layers of convincing appearances to deceive many, but no one can forever hide from my light. The mask they wore, the coverings they built to manipulate, to evade responsibility, to preserve a crafted image, those layers will begin to crack, not because of your anger, not because of fruitless arguments, but because of a direct intervention from heaven, where I do not allow falsehood to endure, especially when it wounds the ones I love and have chosen. I am turning the pages of the story, and the truth will be rewritten by justice, not by resentment. You will stand in that moment as a witness to righteousness. You won't need to defend yourself. I will let the circumstances speak on your behalf. And those who once turned away from you, those who doubted your spiritual discernment, will begin to see that you were never imagining things. They will come to you, not to justify themselves, but to apologize for not believing enough, for not seeing clearly what your soul had always known. My beloved, what you truly longed for was never revenge. I have seen your heart. I know you never wished for anyone to suffer as you did. You simply wanted to be free. Free from the webs of deceit, from the confusion that disoriented you, from the invisible control that eroded your faith and joy. And I want you to know, that process of liberation began not today, but the very moment you chose to let go, when you decided to trust me instead of wrestling with what no longer aligned with your soul. You once believed that justice would come through human action, but I desire to teach you something deeper, that heavenly justice is perfect. It does not need loud voices or dramatic exposure. It arrives in the quiet, with divine authority, through a sequence of seemingly coincidental events, intricately orchestrated by the hand of the Almighty, and only that kind of justice can truly heal the wounds within you. Not through punishment, but through a sacred affirmation that you were never wrong in choosing the truth. So, when you hear that name, Do not let your heart tremble with fear. Let it tremble with gratitude, grateful that you have been delivered from something you once thought was everything. Grateful that I did not let you remain trapped in a cycle of pain. Grateful that you had the courage to let go, even though it hurt. And above all, be grateful that I have entered and will continue to enter every moment of your life to protect you, to purify you, and to lead you into the promised land your soul has always longed for. This is the season in which you will begin to feel yourself being restored, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. I will heal the part of your soul that was deceived, the part that once believed it had to endure suffering just to preserve love. I will redefine for you what a sacred relationship truly means, a place where truth dwells, where mutual honor flows, where spiritual support is present, and where love is never counterfeit. You will no longer trade your peace for the appearance of connection. And as you walk forward, lighter, freer, more at peace, you will come to recognize a precious truth, that true deliverance does not come when the other person is brought low, but when you are no longer bound by the need to prove anything. You will no longer feel the urge to say, "I was right," because truth has a voice of its own, and your heart will cease to crave recognition. It will be filled instead with my presence, the presence that heals and restores you from the very roots. My beloved, do not be troubled when darkness is exposed. Rejoice, for the light is prevailing. And you, who once endured pain in silence, shall now be restored in honor, not through the applause of the world, but by heaven's recognition. Your name is being proclaimed in the higher realms, where the eternal light never fades. Stand firm, trust, for once truth is touched, it never returns to its former state, and you, too, once set free, will never again be bound as before. This is the moment you step into the wholeness of your being. This is the season in which your heart will finally breathe a sigh of relief, no longer needing to shield itself from the very things that should have loved it. Now, right in the stillness that seems uneventful, a sacred discernment is being revealed. That which had long been hidden beneath clever reasoning and layers of justification is beginning to surface in ways that can no longer be denied. Do you remember the times they stood before others, pretending to be the wounded one, the innocent victim, while in truth the words they spoke were like sharp blades piercing the depths of your soul? They claimed that both sides bore fault, seeking to blur the line between right and wrong in order to absolve themselves. But in the realm of the Spirit, where my light penetrates every hidden place, nothing can escape truth. Even though you remained silent, even though you chose not to defend yourself, I took note of every tear, every whispered prayer, every wound that no one else could see. The words they spoke, whether veiled in righteousness or wrapped in the guise of truth, were not as harmless as they believed. Every curse, every falsehood they uttered about you, every intention in their heart to push you down so they could rise higher, all of it has not vanished into the void. In the spiritual realm, every word carries energy, and what they released did not fall into emptiness. Instead, it returned to them, not because you retaliated, but because of the just order I established at the dawn of creation, that whatsoever a person sows, that shall they also reap. And they have sown the wind, so now they reap the storm. You do not need to fight back. I never asked you to argue your way into vindication, because I know, and you are now beginning to see, that the doors which once swung wide open for them are now closing, one after another. The opportunities they once grasped with ease are now slipping through their fingers. The people who once rallied around them are slowly turning away. The victories they once celebrated are now entangled in confusion and unrest. None of this is coincidence. It is the consequence of unrepentant actions, the outcome of harming one whom I have chosen, a soul wrapped in my divine protection. My child, remember this. You do not need to speak. Their downfall will speak on your behalf. The reality they must face will be more convincing than any defense you could have offered. And when that time comes, I do not want you to rejoice in revenge. I ask you to keep your heart tender. Let my justice be revealed without your bitterness entwined. Keep your spirit pure, so that no trace of resentment stands between you and me. For you are not just vindicated, you are chosen to rise above the pettiness, to enter a new season unburdened by the weight of old wounds. There may come a time when someone approaches you and asks, "Why are they facing so many hardships now?" And you will know the answer, yet feel no need to explain, because you understand that everything has its time. Everything comes with a price. What was once concealed beneath a polished facade is now being unveiled, and what causes their collapse is not you. It is the very foundation they chose to build upon, a foundation of lies, manipulation, and pride. Walls erected with dishonest words cannot stand against the wind of truth. And you, the one who was once misjudged, misunderstood, and who carried silence like a shield, will now walk in the light. There is no need to wave a banner of victory, for the light will shine upon you on its own. I will cause others to notice the difference in you, even when you say nothing. And this is not so that you may lift your head in pride, but so that you may know, I see you, and I will never allow anyone to harm you without divine justice being rendered from heaven. I have heard every whisper in the night. I have witnessed every time you held back tears in front of others. And I know that your deepest desire was never to see them fall, but simply to be released from their influence. To live a whole life, no longer bound by the past, no longer suffocated by the fear that the truth would never be known. But I assure you now, this is the hour of unveiling. This is the season where truth shall no longer be buried, and I will bring to light what you have silently endured. Not for revenge, but so you may step into freedom. You are no longer the one who was hurt. You are the one who has been restored. No longer a victim, you are a witness. No longer the one who bore the weight, you are the chosen one to begin a new chapter. A chapter of truth, of grace, and of righteousness. And each step you now take will be a living testimony to my faithfulness. Those who once doubted you will have to face the truth, not so that they may be shamed, but so that they may learn to respect and rightly discern. As for you, keep your heart pure, for I am leading you into a new land. This land does not carry the echoes of former relationships, nor does it carry the entanglement of blame. It is a land of new creation, where you are free to be wholly yourself, a soul no longer needing to defend, no longer fearing to be misunderstood, no longer trapped in the gray areas of confusion and hurt. There, you will meet those who truly listen, who love without conditions, who keep their word, and who cherish your soul the way I have always cherished you. So, my beloved, move forward. Do not look back as if there is something worth holding on to. The truth will rise on your behalf. My righteousness will work for you, and my presence will go before you like a holy flame, consuming every lie, every attack, every scheme that remains. Lift your head, dear one, for the season of collapse has come for the deceitful, and the season of restoration has come for you. You do not need to respond, for your silence now resounds like thunder in the spirit realm. And I, the Lord your God, am the one who will always defend you. I am leading you into a time unlike anything before, a new and sacred season you have never experienced, a season that my hand has long prepared, and now it is opening before you like a great door into divine acceleration. This is not a coincidence, and it is not the result of mere luck. It is the reward of your faithfulness, your patience, and the quiet steps you have taken in the darkness when no one was watching. You are entering a season where every delay, every barrier that once hindered you, and every wall that seemed impossible to overcome will begin to shake and crumble under my power. Every delay you have endured, every promise you thought had been forgotten, every dream postponed due to circumstances, people, or the interference of dark forces, each of these things is being dismantled. No more delays, no more endless waiting, no more suppressing yourself in the space between expectation and reality. My beloved, you are stepping into a sacred realm of accelerated growth. A growth not by human strength, but by the power of the Spirit. What once took years to reach will now come to you in moments. Dreams that were once shelved, plans that had been left unfinished, I will now lift up and bring swiftly into fulfillment, faster than you dare to imagine. Because when I accelerate something, no force can stand in the way. No door can be locked if I have commanded it open. Do not be surprised when doors begin to open, one after another. Do not shrink back when the pace begins to quicken. I am ushering you into a season where spiritual elevation no longer follows natural timing, but divine velocity. The right connections will appear at the right time. Divine collaborations will be established. The hands that once turned away from you will be replaced by new ones. Hands that lift you not for personal gain, but because I have placed the same calling in them as I have in you, to fulfill a shared mission on earth. Remember the days when you fell and wanted to give up, the days when you asked why everyone else seemed to be moving forward while you remained behind, the days when you prayed and heard no answer, worked with no results, sowed with no sign of harvest. Today, I say to you with fierce love, those days were not in vain. They were the foundation for the harvest now coming. And now every drop of sweat, every cry in your quiet room will birth a spiritual harvest so great, even you will be in awe. This is your breakthrough, not just in your work, but in your spirit, in the way you see yourself, and in the way you see me. You once thought that to reach this place, you had to be strong enough, perfect enough, capable enough. But I want you to know, it is your weakness, your brokenness, your quiet and faithful longing that I use to perform miracles. Do not think you are unprepared. I do not wait for perfection to act. I only need a willing heart. And you have that. Now, I call you to walk with expectation. Live with a spirit that is ready, because my velocity will take you from waiting to receiving in the blink of an eye. You will witness unexpected blessings coming your way without the need for you to strive to keep them. What is meant to be will come right on time, and nothing will be able to stop it. I will expand your influence. I will place you in positions you once believed were beyond your reach, but now it is I who will lift you up. Do not fear this new speed. Do not doubt when the impossible suddenly becomes possible. Learn to walk in step with me. Let my spirit be the conductor of every step you take. In this season of acceleration, every decision must be led by holiness, not emotion. You will need spiritual alertness so that you do not miss what I am doing. Do not return to your comfort zones. Do not seek the familiar pace. Dive into the new flow I am pouring out, and you will find yourself soaring on the wind of my spirit, like an eagle rising through the vast sky. This is the time when you must remain steadfast, when your faith must be unshakable. The smaller trials coming your way are not meant to bring you down, but to strengthen you, preparing you for the acceleration that is unfolding. You cannot carry old burdens, old mindsets, or former attachments that once held you back. Everything that no longer aligns with this new pace will naturally fall away. And that, my beloved, is the sign that you are being purified to enter into greater fullness. Prepare your mind, cleanse your heart, make space for what is new. Do not grieve over what has departed, for it had to leave in order for the new to come in. And when you move forward, walk as one who knows they are being sent. Act as one who understands they are standing in the midst of a divine elevation that cannot be reversed. I will move swiftly, but never in haste. I will move deeply, but never with urgency, for everything I do carries the imprint of eternity. You have arrived at the appointed time, and this moment is the gateway to a series of divine unfoldings. No more delay, no more getting stuck, no more knocking endlessly on doors that remained shut. You shall enter without forcing. You will be welcomed, not because you strove, but because the calling within you has echoed into the heavens. And now, heaven is answering, faster, louder, and more powerfully than you could have imagined. My beloved, as you continue on this path led by the Spirit, you will begin to sense something strange yet profound taking place around you, as if the atmosphere of your life is being renewed little by little. New people, unfamiliar faces, will begin to appear unexpectedly. They will not arrive with noise or demand, but with gentleness, with a pure energy, and with hearts that resonate with the very essence of your soul. Do not be surprised when you feel a lightness in their presence. Do not doubt when you notice that simple conversations somehow ignite your spirit, as if something long dormant within you has been awakened. This is not coincidence, my child. It is a clear sign that you are drawing nearer to your promised land, a place where your life's purpose will be unveiled in pure light, no longer obscured by shadows or illusion. The imposters, those who once pretended they belonged, those who blurred the line between sincerity and deception, have now departed, not because you were weak, not because you weren't enough, but because I, the one who sees into the depths of all things, have intervened to sever the deception in the gentlest way possible for your heart. Those who cannot walk with your truth will no longer have a seat beside you. And because I love you deeply, I will never leave you empty. When one door closes, it is only because a wider, stronger gate is opening before you. Even now, heaven is sending new ones, not to replace, but to restore. People who will not merely speak well, but who live truthfully. They will not manipulate your emotions, but uplift you in faith. They will not lead you into dead ends of confusion, but will walk beside you along the path of light I have laid out. Let your heart be open. Let the walls built from past pain begin to come down. I know you have been cautious, disappointed, even hesitant to believe in the presence of sincere hearts. But my child, do you not see that it is precisely your decision to still believe, to still love, to continue walking in a spirit of forgiveness that has made you a spiritual magnet, drawing in the pure, untainted souls I am now sending to you? Your God never takes anything away from you without already preparing something infinitely better. That something better is not merely a relationship, nor is it just emotional compensation. It is a divine companionship, a space where you no longer need to hide your weaknesses, no longer need to pretend to be strong in order to be accepted. You will be allowed to simply be yourself, and in that safe haven, you will grow without the pain of comparison or the weight of judgment. The circle around you is being healed, the old chaos is receding, the half-hearted connections, the doubtful conversations, the insincere glances, all are being replaced with clarity, depth, and a love that is genuine. Do not cling to what has been removed, for I am giving you a new selection, one hand-picked from heaven. Let me rebuild your circle with those led by the Spirit, those who recognize the worth of your soul and are willing to protect it as a sacred gift. And when that happens, when you find yourself surrounded by those who resonate with the frequency of your calling, your purpose will come alive again, no longer restrained, no longer questioned. It will rise with such radiant power that even you will be surprised by what you are saying, doing, and becoming, for you will no longer walk this journey alone. You will feel uplifted, reinforced, and strengthened by those I have specially chosen to walk alongside you. This will be the season when dreams you once shelved are awakened again. Those things that were extinguished by rejection, by doubt, or by disappointment will now blaze within you like a holy fire no one can quench. Your purpose will no longer be a burden, but a source of life. You will find yourself overflowing with inspiration, not because everything becomes easier, but because for the first time, you will feel deeply connected to what you were born to do. No more confusion, no more wandering in fog. You will walk in clear light, with companions who carry the same inner call in their souls. My beloved, this is your time to rise. Do not look back at what made your soul shrink. Do not mourn the relationships that caused you to question your own worth. I am changing the circle around you because I am elevating you, and those who belong to your former season cannot survive at this new altitude, not because they are terrible, but because they no longer align with where you are going, and you do not need to diminish yourself for the sake of being understood. I am preparing for you a new community, a new land, where you can live, grow, and be loved for who you truly are. You are not just being healed, you are being equipped, not merely to survive, but to conquer, not just to exist, but to fulfill your mission, not only to be loved, but to become a wellspring of love. And the most beautiful miracle of all is this: when your circle is cleansed and renewed, you will begin to see yourself more clearly than ever before. The voices of condemnation will fade, the thoughts of inadequacy will be silenced, and only one truth will remain: that you are chosen, that you are beloved, and that you were born for such a time as this. Open your arms wide, for those who are coming to you now are my reward for your perseverance. They are not perfect, but they are real. They will not complete you, for only I can do that, but they will mirror back the light I have placed within your soul. And when your purpose comes alive again, it will no longer be alone. It will be supported, it will be shared, and it will be fulfilled in power, in faith, and in divine companionship from heaven. This is the moment for you to rise. This is the moment for you to bloom. This is the moment when everything I promised you begins to unfold, not distant, not delayed, but near, clear, and tangible. For I am doing it even now, in the heart of this very season, and it begins with the shift in the circle around you. My beloved one, you have walked a long journey filled with inner struggles, with moments of silent endurance in your own space just to keep everything from falling apart. I have witnessed every time you swallowed your words, every time you bent yourself to please those who could not see the true value in you. You lived as though you had to ask permission to exist, to apologize for your emotions, your thoughts, your unique light. But today I speak to you with powerful and unyielding love. You no longer need to do that. You no longer need to suffocate your inner voice in order to maintain a false peace. You do not need to tiptoe within your own spiritual territory just to avoid making others uncomfortable. For now, you are being placed into an entirely new space, a space where your soul can breathe, where your heart beats in rhythm with truth, no longer constricted by imposed expectations. This is the land I have preserved just for you, after you have endured long enough and grown deep enough. Can you feel it now? That unnamed relief? That safety not rooted in others' acceptance, but in the agreement within your own soul that says, you no longer need permission to be who you are. This is the fragrance of true freedom, the gentle and liberating scent of spiritual air when your soul is no longer bound by fear or judgment. This is the atmosphere I have created for you to rise without hesitation, and now you are free to inhale every breath fully. You are free to laugh, to cry, to express your thoughts without fear of distortion or misunderstanding. You are free to create, to paint the visions your heart has quietly dreamed of. You are free to love without fear of being used, to give without fear of loss, to receive without feeling like you're demanding too much. You are free to dream not timid, cautious dreams, but bold, audacious ones, visions I have quietly planted in your soul from the beginning. And the miracle is this: you are not only free, but you are now supported to soar higher. No longer will you feel the need to shrink yourself just to maintain unhealthy connections. No longer will you feel the weight of judgmental eyes or be dimmed every time you shine. You are now in a place where the light within you does not unsettle others, where your presence does not cause unease. This is the space where you are allowed to fully exist, without ridicule, without being diminished, without being twisted to fit someone else's mold. You once lived in defense. You once lived as though you were the problem, when in truth you are the solution for many others. They could not see it, for their hearts were not yet ready to receive true light. And for that reason, I allowed them to walk away, not as a punishment, but as a protection, to protect your innocence, your gentleness, and the heart that had closed itself too many times. Now, I myself am opening your heart once more, but this time it is within safety, within understanding, and within maturity. This is true healing. Breathe, my child, deeply and gently. Let each breath draw you back to your truest self. There is no need to rush. Do not pressure yourself into instant perfection, for it is in the stillness of the spirit that the greatest seeds begin to germinate. Every good thing that was once delayed or hindered by those who failed to see your worth will now come to you with astonishing speed, not because you strive to claim it, but because you are standing exactly where I placed you, aligned with the timing I have long prepared for you. They may have slowed you down. They may have sown seeds of doubt within you, causing you to turn away from the sacred call deep inside. You may have spent months, even years, rebuilding trust in yourself, in my plan, and in your own capacity to love. But my beloved, I have seen it all. I did not let those delays become waste. I have kept every tear you shed, every hidden disappointment, every time you forced a smile while breaking on the inside. And now I will restore. What lies ahead will arrive sooner than you imagine, not as an easy reward, but as the sweet harvest of perseverance. You will look back and realize that the years you thought were stolen were actually years used to lay a steady foundation for lasting growth. I will restore what was lost in greater measure. I will turn your recovery time into a season of blooming, and the very place that once held your deepest pain will become the birthplace of a new spiritual song rising from your soul. This is the time when every promise I've spoken over you begins to take form. No longer hindered, no longer delayed, no longer diminished to fit someone else's space. You are in the right place, in the right season, and in the right spiritual posture to receive the increase heaven is now pouring out. So, my child, receive each moment with an open heart. Embrace this freedom not merely as a gift, but as a sacred right, purchased by your courage, sustained by my faithful love, and accompanied by the silent but powerful presence of the Spirit with every step you take. This is your portion. This is your season. And this is your moment to live again. Clearly, boldly, full of hope, and above all, in the freedom that is truly yours. Beloved one, as you continue walking deeper into the land of healing I am opening before you, you will begin to sense a profound yet gentle shift taking place in your life, especially in the relationships surrounding you. This is not a surface-level change, but a sacred reordering where I am purifying the circle around you to match the new frequency of your soul. The things that once made you feel unheard, misunderstood, or out of place are now retreating like the tide, making room for true resonance. No longer will connections be sustained merely out of history, habit, or guilt. Those who lingered in your life as shadows, benefiting from your light but never nurturing it or reflecting it, are fading away. In their place you will begin to draw souls that are aligned with yours, those who carry the same vibration of light, truth, and pure love. They will not come to take from you, but to honor what they see in you and to build something lasting, beautiful, and sacred. Together, you will begin to recognize something far deeper than you ever dared to dream. You no longer doubt yourself. No more sleepless nights over a single remark that sent your heart spiraling in uncertainty. No more second-guessing whether you were good enough, kind enough, important enough to be kept. Little by little, I am returning to you a sacred part that others had stolen. Your trust in your own intuition, in your true emotions, in the radiant light that has always lived within you. You will feel peace within your own mind, no longer needing to double-check every thought, every reaction, just because someone once made you believe you were always wrong. That sense of safety will not come because others have changed, but because you have grown, you have healed, and you have learned to stand firm upon the sacred ground of your spirit. You will no longer be shaken by glances, words, or passive-aggressive behaviors meant to wound. The very things that once crushed you will no longer have the same power. That is a strong sign. Your soul is recovering. I know you have endured layers upon layers of manipulation, both blatant and subtle. They made you believe you were too sensitive, that you overreacted, that you were imagining things that didn't exist. All the while, they were the ones twisting the truth, shaping your emotions like clay, using them as tools to control you, to make you dependent on their approval. But now the fog is lifting, piece by piece, and you are beginning to see the true light, not only in the world around you, but also within yourself. Like a flower once buried under heavy dust, you are now being cleansed and lifted. You no longer have to contort yourself to fit the unreasonable demands of those who never deserved your heart. You have realized that true love never makes you feel smaller. True love causes you to grow, stronger, brighter, fuller of light. And from that moment on, you sever the invisible cords that once tied your soul to fear and self-doubt. Now you live with an inner stillness that cannot be bought. You no longer react out of old wounds. You respond with understanding and with faith. And in that new peace, you become a spiritual magnet, drawing toward you relationships that are healthy, where you don't have to pretend, don't have to wear a mask, and don't have to abandon yourself just to be loved. You will find yourself surrounded by those who not only empathize, but walk alongside you. They do not fear your light. They welcome it as a source of warmth. They do not wish to possess you, but to see you soar. They do not see you as a means to an end, but as a companion in a sacred journey I have already destined. And you won't have to chase these relationships in desperation. They will come like rivers flowing toward the sea, naturally, gently, without striving, without domination. Because when your soul stands firm in its truth, it becomes a lamp that draws similar lights. Frequencies that do not align will naturally fall away. No conflict needed, no argument required. Simply no longer a match. My child, I know you once felt exhausted from having to do everything just to be treated with decency. I saw every time you bit your lip to keep from crying when words were used like weapons. I saw every time you forgave, not because they deserved it, but because you didn't want to carry hatred in your heart. And it is for all of this that I chose you. Because you still chose love in the midst of pain. Because you still chose kindness in the face of injustice. And now, I am rewarding you with a restoration no one can take from you. Your soul has stood firm, no longer shaken by insincere gazes, no longer retreating in the face of calculated silence, no longer trembling for fear of being left behind. You have crossed the land of inner darkness, and now you are walking upon sacred ground, where every step you take is a declaration. I have returned. I am no longer a victim. I am the chosen one. And from this place, you will not merely survive. You will thrive. You will love without fear, dream without limits, serve without losing yourself. This is your portion. This is your season. And from now on, you will no longer be a shadow of who you once were. You will be the light. Not because someone told you to be, but because I created you to shine in the midst of darkness. My beloved, as you cross the threshold of deep restoration, you will come to realize something magnificent, something your soul once longed for in silence and tears, that my divine protection is no longer a temporary gift. It no longer depends on circumstances, outward peace, or the disposition of those around you. This protection has become eternal, a shield invisible yet powerful, covering your every step, every thought, every breath. No longer just a fleeting refuge in the storm, but now your permanent dwelling in me. You no longer need to live on edge, constantly bracing yourself to avoid pain. You are now free to live with a deep sense of security, not born from control, but from absolute trust in my ever-present nearness throughout every detail of your life. The fears that once haunted you, that someone would return, that pain would revisit, that the past would rise up to drag you back into the abyss, have all been severed by the power of redemption. The curses have been broken. The invisible chains have been undone. Now you walk no longer carrying the unseen burdens others placed upon your shoulders, but bearing only the gentle anointing of my grace. Before you lies the land of acceleration. No more weary steps through the desert. No more climbing uphill alone in the dark. Every promise I have spoken over you, every prophetic word spoken into your life is now beginning to take shape. You will feel yourself propelled by a spiritual wind, a force soft yet mighty, guiding you to the right place, at the right time, meeting the right people, unlocking the right doors. Every effort that was once delayed, once obstructed, will now be restored with breathtaking speed and clarity. It is not that you are running, it is that I am carrying you on my wings. And you will no longer have to strive to hold on to your blessings. The gifts that come to you will no longer be laced with exhaustion, no longer come with rigid expectations from others. They will arrive like gentle rains after drought, like honey on your lips after days of bitterness. You won't need to prove your worth according to human standards. Won't need to overextend yourself just to be loved or accepted. I bless you not because you have reached perfection, but because you have humbled yourself enough to receive my love with empty hands. And it is in that very place of emptiness that I will fill you with something no one can ever take away. You will no longer look back, no longer be trapped in the spiral of what-ifs, of regret, of wishing you could rewrite the past, because what I am now unveiling before your eyes will be so radiant, so wondrous, that even you will be astounded you ever considered turning back. The betrayal, the deception, the pain, they once made you believe you wouldn't make it through. But now you will see. No loss was ever in vain if it brought you closer to the land I destined for you. And if they, the ones who once brought you to your knees, begin to wonder, if they glance back at you with eyes clouded by confusion, let them. Let them question why you're still standing, why you keep walking forward, why you are now able to smile in the light they once tried to extinguish. Let them sit with the very weight they once placed on your shoulders, the weight of expectations, of criticism, of double-tongued words, of conditional affection. That weight no longer belongs to you. You've laid it down, and no one, nothing, can force you to carry it again. They may wonder, they may doubt, they may even regret, but you won't. Because now you know what is true, what is eternal, and what is worth keeping. You've come to realize that you don't need to explain, don't need to prove, don't need to justify yourself just to be understood. The life I have awakened in you will speak for itself. The light within you will shine without striving, and the peace rooted deep within your spirit, not born from circumstance but from the sacred depths of my presence, will speak louder than any word ever spoken against you. From this moment on, your life story is no longer written by trembling hands of fear, nor by voices distorted by past pain. It is being rewritten by my hand, the hand of the one who formed you in love, who held you through your tears, and who has restored you in power. Every new sentence is a declaration that you have survived, that you have overcome, and that you are now living out your divine assignment, no longer twisted by old chapters, no longer hindered by unfinished sentences. Your story is stepping into a brand new chapter, brighter, deeper, truer, and you will come to see that the very things which once caused you the most pain have now become the material of your most powerful testimony. Where you once broke, wisdom will rise. Where you once trembled in fear, courage will be born. And where you once kept silent because no one would listen, I will cause your voice to be heard. For healing, for hope, for freedom. Because I did not save you merely so you could survive. I saved you to be a lamp in the world, a reminder to the broken that they too can rise. They too can be rewritten, and they too can be chosen. So, my beloved, walk forward without hesitation. Walk with the courage of one who has known loss, but never lost themselves. Live with the joy of one who knows they are loved without condition. And never forget, I go before you, I write beside you, and I will not stop until your story becomes a glorious testament to my eternal faithfulness. Now you are standing in a place from which no one can drag you back to what once shattered your soul. You have walked the narrow path. You have passed through the valley of tears. You have risen from the darkest depths of pain. The place where you now stand is not accidental. It is the result of every time you chose to rise, even when your heart trembled. The reward for every silent battle you fought while others assumed you had given up. And because of that, even if someone speaks your name with insinuation, with doubt, or through distorted memories, you are no longer shaken. Do you realize this? Their voices no longer hold weight. Your name may still be spoken in their stories, but you are no longer the person they once knew. The tremor in their voices, though it may try to resurrect the past, has lost its power to manipulate, because you are no longer attuned to the old frequency. You have shifted into a new one, a frequency of deep peace, of spiritual clarity, and of a self-worth that has been restored through every crack. I know that every time you heard someone mention your name, your heart once tightened. You used to panic, to fear being misunderstood, to desperately try to explain yourself just to be seen rightly. But now, you no longer need to do that, because truth does not require haste in its defense. It will stand firm over time. And you are living proof of that truth. Every steady step you take, every day you walk in the light that is uniquely yours, is a stronger response than any gossip that may arise. You have been sealed, marked with a sacred imprint that no one can erase. It is not a sign on your skin, but a deep engraving upon your soul. I have sealed you in the protection of the highest realm, within a sanctuary untouchable by malicious words or suspicious eyes. Everything that once threatened you has now become a distant echo, no longer able to reach you, no longer able to shake your heart. You have clothed yourself in your own armor, not the hardened shell of false defenses, but the true armor of someone who has once been shattered and learned how to mend from within. Each fragment once trampled underfoot has now been reforged by faith, by light, by humility, and by compassion that only those who have passed through the valley can truly carry. You no longer live in defense, but in awareness. A quiet yet sharp awakening, a wisdom that needs no eloquent words, because your unwavering presence alone is enough to make the darkness retreat. You have become too spiritually mature to be swayed by the cheap tricks of deception. You recognize insincere eyes from afar, and you can hear the dissonance in a voice from its very first word, not because you are bitter, but because you once trusted completely and were deeply wounded. You have learned not to let anyone else write your story with their hands, not to let outside judgments define your inner worth, and your soul with all its gathered experience knows this more than anyone. Your calm now does not come from forgetting, but from profound healing. You do not need to erase the memory in order to feel peace. You simply look back and smile, because you know you overcame what once seemed like it would drown you. The psychological games they once used to make you doubt yourself no longer hold any power. The verbal strikes they once hurled to make you falter now pass by like a breeze, because your soul no longer allows those things to shape its form. You have been restored in such a way that you no longer react from your wounds, but respond with clarity. You no longer tremble at confrontation, nor do you seek acceptance in hearts that never truly loved you. You have learned how to step back without feeling weak, to remain silent without feeling invisible. Your presence now is the presence of someone who knows where they belong, who loves them, and where they are headed in their divine journey. And you will come to realize this as well. You no longer need others to believe in you for you to feel worthy. You no longer have to unfold your heart to prove its purity. You no longer require praise, validation, or agreement from the outside to know that you are on the right path. Because the deepest confirmation does not come from human lips, but from the silent approval of the Holy Spirit within you. Your soul, after walking through the wilderness, is now being refreshed by the underground springs of grace. It is no longer parched, no longer withered. It is reviving, it is blooming, it is singing with the very voice they once tried to silence. Now your soul is the garden of sacred dreams, the dwelling place where I abide and renew you each day. So, my beloved, if ever your name is spoken again by those who once wounded you, simply smile. There is no need to react, no need to respond. For while they remain entangled in conversations about you, you have already journeyed far beyond what they could ever imagine. While they are still clinging to the stale energies of anger, envy, and control, you have stepped into a new realm. A realm where the spiritual air is pure, where the light of truth illuminates every step, where life no longer needs permission to bloom. Your name is no longer tainted in memory. It is written in gold in the journal of heaven, and the sound that echoes from your soul is no longer a cry for help, but a song of joy from one who has been restored. So, my child, keep moving forward. Do not look back, for what lies ahead is always more worthy than anything left behind. And I, the one who has preserved you through every storm, am writing the next chapter of your story. A story no longer dictated by the voices of others, but guided by the sacred voice within you. My precious one, open your heart fully, for a new season is truly beginning, not one of whispered promises in the shadows, but of the public fulfillment of all that I have long sown into your soul. Now you shall enter a season of reaping, not only to heal wounds, but to enjoy the sweet fruit of your faithfulness, your patience, and the unwavering trust you have guarded through the years that once seemed so hopeless. Your restoration is not merely healing from what was lost. It is the bestowal of more than you ever dared to dream. Not just a return to normalcy, but an elevation into new depths and new heights, where you no longer live just to survive, but to thrive in abundance, in joy, and in spiritual wholeness. I have seen every time you offered me the most precious parts of your heart, even when you knew there might be no return. I have witnessed every tear you shed in the night, not asking for riches, fame, or revenge, but pleading only for one thing. Lord, restore what belongs to me. And I have kept my promise. The things you believed were lost, love, worth, dreams, honor, trust, even time, they were not stolen as you once thought. I preserved them with great care in the treasury of heaven, far from unworthy hands, until you became ready to receive them again, in safety and in strength. And now, my child, the time has come. You no longer need to strive. You no longer need to prove anything. You won't even need to say, "That belongs to me," for what truly belongs to you will find its way back to you. It will return like long-lost children, like waters flowing back to their source, unstoppable, undeniable. I will bless not only the visible areas of your life, but also the hidden places you've kept concealed, the corners of your soul you never dared to touch. I will renew the relationship between you and yourself, I will bless every step you take, every word you speak, and every dream still waiting for its moment to come alive. You will witness a shift in how others treat you, not because they have changed, but because you have changed. The new energy within you will cause everything false to fall away naturally, and the truth will draw the pure and the genuine close. Doors that were once closed will begin to open without warning. Dreams once thought dead will rise again with new strength, stronger than ever before, not because you are more deserving than others, but because you never abandoned yourself in your darkest moments. And I, the one who sees all, have not forgotten that. You will begin to see your quietest desires answered, not through a sudden thunderclap, but through gentle, unmistakable signs coming from every direction. An unexpected call, a door that opens softly, a confirmation from someone you never thought would understand. One by one, detail by detail, I am rearranging them like pieces of a puzzle in the painting that I myself am creating. And when the picture is complete, you will stand in awe and whisper, Lord, everything truly was in your hands. I will bless your finances, not merely so you can survive, but so that you may live abundantly. Enough to give, enough to fulfill the mission I placed within your heart. I will bless your relationships, so that you will no longer love from a place of fear, no longer give with suspicion, but step into love as someone who is truly cherished, worthy, and protected. I will bless your body so that weariness will leave you, peaceful sleep will return, and a vibrant life force will begin flowing through every cell. I will bless your dreams so you no longer have to hide what you long for. You will write again, build again, dream again, and this time there will be no mockery, no doubt, no theft. You will create from a grounded spirit, no longer shaken by the words of others, no longer manipulated by voices outside of you. For now within you there is a conviction that cannot be moved. I am chosen. I am forgiven. I am restored. And I am worthy of what is good. You will begin to see my hand in even the smallest of things. Coincidences will become so frequent that you'll find yourself whispering, "This is a miracle." And it is, beloved. This is the miracle of a life yielded to my power. Not because everything becomes perfect in an instant, but because all things begin to move in alignment with heaven's order. And where I dwell, there will be no more chaos. Those who once thought they took something from you will look back, bewildered, not because you retaliated, but because I have lifted you in a way they cannot control. Not so you may boast, but so I may reveal this truth. No one can take what I have ordained for a faithful soul. What they thought they had extinguished in you will ignite again, a flame that cannot be quenched, a light that cannot be hidden, a voice that cannot be silenced. My beloved, pause for a moment in stillness and open the eyes of your spirit. Look closely. Something wondrous is awakening inside you. It is not something new in the conventional sense, but something ancient and original that had been buried beneath years of hurt and pressure. It is the sacred creativity I planted in you from the beginning, and now it is being resurrected, no longer stifled by fear or doubt. You are no longer confined to the mold others once shaped for you. Now it is my own hand reshaping the landscape within you, so that creativity may flow freely, like a river breaking its banks, rushing back to its source of light. Watch how new ideas begin to appear in your mind, gently, profoundly, and full of inspiration. What you once believed you were incapable of doing will now become startlingly clear and deeply possible. This is not coincidence. it is because the dust of doubt has been blown away by me, and you are seeing the best parts of yourself again. You do not need to strive to become someone else. You only need to allow yourself to be who I created you to be from the very beginning. A creative soul, full of capacity, led by intuition, and overflowing with my spirit. Money, the very thing that once stirred silent worry in your heart and quietly burdened your thoughts, will now begin to flow toward you like a gentle, life-giving stream. Not through manipulation, not through struggle or competition, but through the renewed energy that now moves within you. Through the spiritual frequency you are carrying into every space you enter. As you live in alignment with truth, walking fully in the sacred calling upon your life, the resources of heaven will begin to seek you, not merely to satisfy your needs, but to empower a greater purpose. You will no longer work out of exhaustion or desperation, but from a place of clarity and rest. You will no longer chase provision like one who is lacking, but you will function like one who gives generously out of overflow. And your health, both physical and mental, will be restored from within. The silent drains on your strength, the nameless anxieties, the aches that once lingered without explanation, they will begin to dissolve. Because when the soul is healed, the body follows. When you are no longer burdened by the pressure to meet the expectations of others, your breath becomes lighter, your sleep becomes deeper, and your eyes become clearer, not because you are forcing yourself to heal, but because you have surrendered fully and allowed me to bring restoration into the deepest places. The energy flowing through you will be made new, not the temporary, fleeting kind promised by the world, but a steady, living current drawn from the sacred wellspring of my spirit. You will rise each day not merely with hope, but with a fire of divine purpose burning in your core. You will no longer function in survival mode, striving to make things happen, but you will move with grace, clarity, and divine direction. Every word you speak, every decision you make, every step you take will be guided by my presence. And in this sacred rhythm, everything your hands touch will begin to prosper, faster, deeper, and more abundantly than you imagine. My beloved, I see and know the spiritual heaviness you once carried, a burden that felt like a cloak of invisible ashes weighing down your soul. It wasn't something you could name, and it didn't show on the surface, but it lived in the silent exhaustion of your spirit. There were moments when you couldn't understand why you were so tired, so unclear, why my voice felt faint. It was because you were wrapped in layers of heaviness, lies that whispered you were not enough, not strong, not worthy of the light. But now, I have broken those chains. They no longer hold you. And the freedom you feel, as unfamiliar as it may seem, is not imagined. It is sacred. It is real. It is yours. And that freedom, my beloved, is the very breakthrough you have long awaited. Not a grand spectacle for others to applaud, but a deep internal shift that changes the very fabric of your world. When the soul is released, the environment responds. Relationships that once drained you will either dissolve or be transformed. Doors that were once sealed will open with ease. Opportunities you thought had passed you by will return, this time aligned with divine timing, divine preparation, and divine people. You no longer have to chase after breakthrough, because you are the breakthrough. Your presence, alive in freedom, radiant in light, anchored in unwavering faith, is the miracle I am unveiling through your life in this wounded world, and through you, others will encounter me. Through the quiet strength of your voice, the tenderness of your gaze, the peace that flows from your spirit, others will come into contact with the healing I have done in you. You no longer need to live to prove anything. You live now to be a vessel of presence, a bearer of light, a carrier of divine love and sacred power. You are no longer limited by the patterns that once confined you. You will not diminish your calling just to remain in spaces that were never designed to hold your fullness. You will spread your wings, you will create and build, you will dream and connect, you will heal and be healed. You will sow and reap, not through striving for perfection, but by living in truth. Not by clinging to flawless plans, but by walking each step in intimate partnership with me. Walk forward, my beloved, without hesitation. Open your heart wide and receive every moment, for this is no longer the season of endurance. This is the season of movement. This is the moment of transformation. This is the time when what I have placed within you will no longer remain hidden, but will begin to bloom, to bear fruit and to spread. And in everything you touch, my imprint will be found. In everything you create, my life will be present. You no longer carry burdens, you carry a crown. You are no longer the one seeking affirmation. You are the one who brings affirmation from heaven to earth. And everything you once lost, everything you once hid, once surrendered, will be restored in glory. Not only restored, but elevated, multiplied, doubled, tripled, and returned in overflowing measure. My precious child, as you now look back upon the journey you've walked, you will see one thing with unmistakable clarity. You have not merely survived. You have not merely been healed. You have received far more than you ever lost. There were things you let go of with tears, believing they would never return. There were parts of you that shattered so deeply, you thought they could never be whole again. But I have done what no one believed was possible. And now you are standing in a new reality. A place where every loss has been redeemed with wisdom, with strength, and with the abundant life that flows from my divine source. You have received discernment, a precious gift you didn't even know you needed. No longer a tender soul led by emotions or empty promises. Now you can see through the words, sense the truth behind the veil. You are no longer captivated by the appearance of good, for you now seek what is right. You no longer live for the applause of the world, for you live to please me. And in that spiritual awakening you have become someone new, someone who cannot be easily deceived, cannot be manipulated, cannot be pulled back into what you've already been set free from. Your spiritual strength does not come from never having fallen, but from the truth that you did fall, you did break, and yet you rose again. On feet upheld by grace, you've learned to fight not with blades, but with prayers, not with arguments, but with the power of quiet, not by proving you're right, but by living right. Each day, with quiet persistence, in a way that reaches the soul. That strength no one could have given you but me. And now, it radiates from you like a field of safety, steady, certain, and filled with light. And your voice, the voice once strangled by fear, once stolen by lies, has now been returned. Not only the outer voice, but the inner one. The confidence, the trust in your own intuition, the connection with me that no one can interrupt. You no longer speak to be accepted. You no longer remain silent out of fear of rejection. You speak the truth, gently, but with authority. And when you speak, heaven listens, for it is a voice forged in the fire, refined in the dark night, and anointed by my holy presence. The love you once gave, fully, unconditionally, courageously, may have seemed overlooked, exploited, or rejected. But my child, not one drop of true love is ever wasted in my kingdom. I have gathered every drop. I have preserved every ray of light you once gave to others, and now I am sending them back to you, but in a different form. No longer will you encounter relationships that bring harm, but connections woven in sincerity. No longer will people come to take, but souls who come to give and protect. No longer will there be hollow promises, but genuine presence. Each person, each word, each glance carrying healing. The energy surrounding you is shifting. In the past, you accepted currents that drained your soul. You allowed yourself to be affected by negativity, by doubt, by the heaviness of comparison. You tried to please everyone, even when it meant losing parts of yourself. But now, you are no longer that person. You no longer tolerate what once hurt you. You no longer turn a blind eye to disrespect. You no longer accept half-hearted affection. You are no longer the version of yourself from yesterday. And that in itself is the true victory. Not the kind of victory the world celebrates with fame or achievement, but the quiet, powerful victory. Victory over yourself, over fear, over the past. You have shed old layers, not to become someone else, but to return to the truest version of who I created you to be. You are no longer controlled by circumstances. You are the one writing your story now, under my guidance, with a pen dipped in truth and courage. Some may say that you've changed. They may not be able to name exactly what is different, but they will feel it. They will see it in your eyes, not searching for approval anymore, but shining with confidence. They will hear it in your voice, not hesitant anymore, but gentle and steady. They will stand from afar and say, "You're not the same," and they're right. You have changed, but not in the way they think. You haven't grown hardened or closed off. You have been healed. And healing doesn't need to be explained or defended. It flows from you like the subtle fragrance of a flower just watered after a long drought. You have chosen yourself, not out of selfishness, but because you've learned that loving others does not require abandoning yourself. You have chosen light, not the glittering kind from the outside, but the inner light, one that reveals all falsehoods, casts out every shadow of manipulation, and leads you to the place where you truly belong. You have chosen the path of truth, of love, and of being led by the Spirit. And I, your Creator, rejoice in that. I am not standing at the sidelines merely watching. I am the one who walked with you through the night, who wept with you in the darkness, who fought for you when you had no strength left, and who sang the song of victory as you stepped out of the land of sorrow. And even now, I am walking with you, in every breath, every decision, every quiet moment, and every turning point, because you are mine, and you have entered the promised land, where your soul is no longer bound, but free to soar. Now, offer me the sincere prayer of your heart. You may say it like this: Lord, I bow before you with a heart that is broken, yet full of trust. I lay in your hands the relationships that have become a burden to my soul, those that once seemed like love, but were truly control disguised in sweetness. Help me release them without guilt, separate without bitterness, so I may step into the freedom you have destined for me. Remove from me every invisible chain that has bound my soul, and heal the wounds I no longer have words to express. Lord, I thank you for not allowing me to remain lost in the fog of emotions and limited reasoning. Please restore to me my spiritual ears so I may hear your voice clearly once again. Wash my spiritual eyes so I can discern what is true, what comes from you, and what is merely a cleverly disguised illusion. Place within me a sharp sense of discernment so I may no longer confuse counterfeit kindness with genuine love, or mistake toxic attachments for divine companionship. Lord, I hear your call, beckoning me into a season of divine acceleration beyond what I have ever dared to dream. Though my heart trembles, I surrender in obedience. Let your Spirit guide every step I take. I do not wish to carry with me old baggage, outdated thinking, or relationships that have hindered my spiritual growth. Cleanse my mind, lift me above every delay, and bring me into your new rhythm, where the promises you have spoken begin to manifest in awe and reverence. Lord, I bring before you a heart that has been broken in silence. I no longer wish to pretend to be strong. Please step into the deepest corners of my soul, where lies once took root, where judgmental eyes once left scars. Heal the wounds I have carried in solitude, and pour into me a love that does not condemn, a love that is unconditional, a love that flows from the Father. Lord, I ask you to purify the circle around me. Remove from my life every relationship that was not sent by you, those who came with hidden agendas, with the intention to control or to dim the light I carry. Send to me kindred souls, those who cherish me for who I truly am, those who love not for gain but because they recognize heaven's calling within me. Establish a new circle where I can be fully myself and walk in spiritual light together with others. Lord, I have lived for too long under the distortion of others' voices, words of criticism, doubt, and scorn that drowned out the gentle whisper of your Spirit. Silence every voice that does not come from heaven. Bring me back to the quiet approval of the Holy Spirit, so that I may no longer live for praise or fear of misunderstanding, but because I know who I am in your eyes. Grant me the courage to stand in true light without needing to defend myself. Lord, I give back to you every memory soaked in tears, the days I strained to hold together a bond that was breaking, the nights I cried alone, feeling misunderstood and abandoned. Take from me the fear of being wounded again. Replace my old scars with your new love, a healing love that asks for no concealment, that demands no performance to be accepted. Lord, I no longer wish to dwell in the false darkness of compromise. I choose to step out, even if it means walking alone, into a solitude filled with freedom. Help me stand firm in the light you have placed within me, even if I am misunderstood, abandoned, or misjudged. I know truth will always shine brighter than every lie, and I choose to live by that truth, not to protect myself, but to glorify your name through my life. Lord, my heart lifts up a song of gratitude for the miraculous deliverance you have accomplished in silence. You did not only pull me out of murky waters, but you also cleansed every stain in my mind and spirit. You have given me new wings, new eyes, and a new heart to live in sacred freedom. I could not have made it through on my own, not without you. May this gratitude become an unending song in my soul, forever echoing with praise. Lord, I know I am not worthy, yet you still chose me, not because I am strong enough or holy enough, but because your eternal love never changes. I thank you for leading me into a new season, a season of growth, a season of opening, a season where what was once delayed is now accelerated by the very momentum of heaven. I bow in thanksgiving and pray to live worthy of all that you are entrusting to me. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. If you love the Lord, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of the meaningful, life-giving messages from God. Together, we will grow in faith and live a life fully rooted in His love. Amen.